In June of 2026, my wife and I were lucky to travel to Spain and have an unforgettable evening at the Tablao de Carmen in Barcelona. Nestled inside the beautiful Poble Español, this intimate venue recreates the atmosphere of traditional Andalusian flamenco taverns, where the audience sits only a few feet from the performers. And rather than feeling like a theater production, it feels like you've been invited into a gathering where music and dance are simply part of life. The Tablao de Carmen opened in 1988 as a tribute to Carmen Amaya, one of the greatest flamenco dancers who has ever lived. Born in Barcelona in 1918 into a Romani family, she revolutionized flamenco with her extraordinary speed, power, and emotional intensity. Her performances captivated audiences across Europe and the Americas, and many historians credit her with helping introduce flamenco to the international stage. But the story of flamenco begins centuries earlier in southern Spain, the region of Andalusia. Flamenco emerged from the blending of many cultures: Romani, Moorish, Jewish, and native Andalusian traditions. Over generations, these influences merged into a unique art form that combines song, guitar, dance, rhythm, and deeply personal expression. At the heart of flamenco are three essential elements. First is the cante, or the singing. Flamenco singing is often raw and emotionally charged, telling stories of love, joy, hardship, longing, and resilience. Next comes the toque, or the guitar. And although flamenco guitar is instantly recognizable today, it wasn't always part of the tradition. However, over time, it evolved into one of the world's most expressive instruments and became part of flamenco by providing melody and rhythm. Finally, there is the baile, or the dance. Every moment has meaning, from the graceful motion of the arms to the dramatic footwork that becomes another percussive instrument. One of the things that surprised us was the intensity of the performers. The dancers weren't simply executing choreography, they were telling stories. We were trying to figure what they were saying, but their facial expressions, every pause, every clap, every strike of the hand, carried an emotion, which you could feel. The performers also communicated constantly with one another, often improvising within the structure of the music, making every performance unique. Their friends on the sidelines would call out things and make the dancers dance in a certain way. The word tablao comes from the Spanish word tabla, meaning wooden board. The raised wooden stage amplifies the dancer's intricate footwork, turning every step into part of the music itself. Modern tablaos, like this one, preserve a tradition that developed after the old cafes or cantantes of the 19th century disappeared, providing intimate spaces where audiences can experience authentic flamenco up close. Although Barcelona is in Catalonia rather than Andalusia, the Tablao de Carmen has become one of Spain's premier venues for experiencing traditional flamenco dancing. Its location is especially meaningful because the Andalusian courtyard where it currently stands was inaugurated during the 1929 International Exposition, with performances by members of Carmen Amaya's own family. Today's performance continues that remarkable legacy almost a century later. In 2010, UNESCO recognized flamenco as an intangible cultural heritage of all humanity, acknowledging not only its artistic excellence, but also its importance as a living tradition passed from one generation to the next. It still remains one of Spain's most powerful cultural expressions and continues to evolve while honoring its roots. When we look back over that evening at the Tablao de Carmen, what we remember the most isn't simply the technical skill of the dancers or the beauty of the music. It was that passion. Flamenco isn't just performed, it is lived. And luckily for us, and one evening in Barcelona, we had the privilege of witnessing a tradition that has carried the joys, sorrows, and spirit of Spain for centuries. It's an experience that we won't forget.